Hi, I'm Jacob Fry, and I'm a junior at IU, and my majors are Operations Management and Entrepreneurship and Corporate Innovation.
Hi, my name is Adriana, and I'm doing my master's in voice. And we're here at Buskirk Shumley Theater to talk about song.
For me, it kind of just is a feeling, and it stems from like being captivated by a certain song, like certain sounds, and being able to a lot of times relate to kind of the feelings that the artist is trying to get across. I think that makes music something that you want to listen to.
Yeah, I agree. It has like when I listen to a radio or just any type of song, the ones I remember are the ones that have like an emotional impact on me, and I do relate with that has to do with like what you could relate to.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I mean like anything that has like an upbeat, I would like because I like dancing. um, and yeah, I mean like a good song is just something that makes me feel something. I
Mm-hmm.
would say. I would say in the shower. I mean, that's usually when I'm cooking, I listen to music, and that gives me like this really relaxing feeling, and like I'm about to eat and stuff like that. Also, when I'm driving
Mm-hmm.
or when I'm walking to like campus, um, I usually put up my headphones and just like block everything out and just keep walking and just listening to my music.
Yeah, I agree with that. The walks to campus are made infinitely better
Yeah.
with some headphones in. Driving, also at the is another place I listen to a lot of music. I also tend to listen to a lot of music when I'm trying to either study or get something done, and I really want to lock in. Especially when I'm in a spot where I'm kind of around other people.
Yeah.
I find that when there's other people around, I tend to want to kind of just be social and divert what I'm doing. But when I kind of lock in and put music in, I'm able to focus on that and really just lock into whatever it is I'm doing, and then have kind of the music drown out the rest of what's going on.
That's so interesting because for studying, I'm like the complete opposite. So I just like a lot of silence. But I do listen to music when I'm also around people. So I guess a song helps me like block everything out and just be like in my own little world. Um, in a positive way, I mean, I guess. I mean, I'm from Puerto Rico, so I think like I listen to a lot of salsa.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think like Hector Lavoe, which if you don't know, I recommend that you hear from me. You'll probably hear from me and want to start dancing. But like songs, I would say I like Strauss, which he's really good. And you will get to hear a little bit of Liszt, which is also really good.
Yeah, for me it kind of goes all over the place. I like a lot of the classic rock bands like Pink Floyd, Nirvana, like bands like that.
Yeah.
But then I also have been trying to get into some newer music a little bit more recently. I've been listening to Coin, Saint Motel, just kind of bands kind of in that genre of
Radiohead?
music.
Do you listen to Radiohead?
A little bit. That's one of the bands I haven't quite gotten into much yet, but I've heard good things.
Yeah, they are pretty good.
I think the biggest thing about a good story is relatability. I think if you can look at a story and find either characters or certain problems or issues that you can personally relate to or apply to your own life, it makes it all the more interesting, or I guess all the more something that you can invest your time into and really dive into.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like in order to be relatable, it doesn't have to be like necessarily true historical facts.
Mm-hmm.
It could be something that's not from this world. Because I feel like a story could also be an outlet to like just take you other places. So I feel like if a story has, for example, dragons or like someone that can fly or something like that, that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So
the difference between speaking and singing, I think, can be very subtle, because it definitely depends a lot on kind of the tone that you're speaking with. I think it's kind of just a switch that can be flipped in the middle of a song that can go back and forth, in terms of having a tune behind the words you're actually saying, or how the cadence between the words you're actually saying, how they flow together. I think that can really be a subtlety, and how speaking and singing can almost be the same thing at times, but it's kind of one of those things, you know it when you hear it, I think.
Yeah. I feel like one important fact that's different between speaking and singing is the music. Like every language has like a different flow. So if I would be talking Spanish, like my flow would be different. English has a different flow, also French and German. And I feel that translates into singing. I also think that when you're saying words while singing, I feel like the emotion could be more clear and impactful, just because you have the music and the piano behind you. It's not the same just talking and just telling you, like, for example, I really had a bad day, you know, than me saying I really had a bad day and a pianist doing clusters like boom, 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 you know, like, like you would be like, oh, she really had a bad day, you know. Or me saying I am so sad, like I'm really sad, and then me saying that again, and then a pianist playing like a minor chord or something that actually is gonna be like, oh, she's really sad, you know. And I feel like song in specific, or when you're singing a song, it could be so captivating because the way you say things and the way the pianist is playing, or the composer structures everything that the pianist is playing, and the voice, like the integration of both of them could be very magical. For example, if you are talking about a specific character, and this character is a good character, like the music is not necessarily gonna be like really rapid or have like it could be like really flowy and have like what do you call it, like legato and long lines. And if you're talking about a villain, then it could be sharp, or if you're talking about a problem, it could be sharp. So I feel like speaking, it's kind of like, I feel like singing is kind of like speaking, but it has like a more intention. Also, us as singers, we are trained to do that. For example, if you see a singer and you understand everything and it makes it seem easy, it's probably because that singer has practiced so much, and it's doing a good job at it. But I feel like we are our own amplifiers, so we have to use like a lot of air to make it seem like we're actually speaking. But that's the point of singing. And I feel like in song, there are actually certain parts and certain composers that could make like bits and pieces that they want the text to be spoken, or at least speech-like. And this song, Di Lorelai, like the beginning starts like that. A band? No, there is not. Usually art song or song in general is just piano and voice, which makes it very intimate. And the relationship between the piano and the voice and the listener is just like you, me, and the pianist, and it's all here, you know. There's no guitars, or usually are no guitars.
My experience with classical music is fairly limited. It wasn't the type of music that like my family listened to a lot growing up, so I wasn't overly exposed to it very often. I'd say the majority of my exposure to classical music has been in some type of educational setting, whether that be music classes in elementary school growing up, or I took a class through the Jacob School of Music called Music for the Listener, where we listen to a lot of classical music in that sense. And what I've determined from all of my listening to to classical music and through that class is my attention span in terms of classical music, I'm not great at keeping my focus on it, and I tend to have a hard time following a lot of like the emotion that they're trying to convey and the like the themes that they're trying to project through the music. So I definitely think there's a lot there, and I think there's a lot of grace that goes into classical music. I just don't, I'm not great at discerning it or having a clear picture in my head while I'm listening to it of exactly what's going on. So that's why I have a hard time with it sometimes.
Yeah. Do you think that has anything to do with like the language?
Definitely at times. I think a lot of the songs I like to listen to, they have melodic hooks that and great lyricism that kind of makes you remember what the artist is trying to convey. And when I'm having a hard time understanding those points because I can't translate what the artist is trying to say, I have a hard time.
Hi, my name is Adriana, and we will be performing Die Lorelei from Franz Liszt.
I really enjoyed I thought it was really interesting how much of that I actually thought that I had heard before, or had been something that I had heard in other contexts, and it wasn't something where I could pinpoint where I'd heard it before, but it was something that seemed familiar in a sense. So that was really interesting. I also really enjoyed how the different parts that we talked about before came into play, specifically the section where he had hit a bunch of different chords and then kind of went into a little bit faster of a notes type thing to show like a change in theme. I thought that was really interesting. And then throughout that part, he was talking about sailors, which I think based on what you were talking about beforehand. So I thought that part was really interesting, and it was a part that I could kind of understand what was going on. And then I also liked at the end where you were talking about the mermaid specifically, and kind of he hit a chord or two, and then you were seeing the mermaid, and then he kind of faded out a little bit, and so it was just kind of you singing about the mermaid, and it was very clear the emotion kind of behind that, and so I thought that was really cool too. My opinion, my perspective on classical music has definitely changed, because I don't think I had gotten the perspective of a performer in terms of classical music yet, so that was very interesting to hear about, and it was something that I really enjoyed, seeing that side of classical music. I think classical music could be good for me in like a study setting, because it's especially this type of classical music where it's just a piano and a singer. It's very in terms of the instrumentation, it's very simple, but there's definitely a lot going on within the music that would be very soothing to listen to while I'm trying to study or really just relax.
Thanks for watching. This has been Songs for Skeptics on WIUX.